Let's pick up where we left off.
And then all of a sudden, boom, I was in an accident. My car was hit so hard by an SUV that it literally did a 180 and was spun around over to a grassy, unpopulated area. I was hit so hard, y'all, that my shoes came off my feet. Because when I ultimately saw my car later on, my shoes, my flip flops, were still on the pedals. That's how hard I was hit. Now, to be honest with you all, I don't remember a lot. I was knocked out, okay? I don't know how I got out of the vehicle. I just kind of remember that there was a woman standing there kind of over me. I like to think she was an angel. She was standing over me and she told me to keep breathing. I was going to be okay. Help was coming. That's really all I remember. I also know that my daughter, remember y'all, she was going to be coming home from school. This accident happened as you would turn onto my street. She was walking from school. So had she walked the way in which she walked that morning, she would have come upon this accident and she would have saw her mother laying out in the grass. And I have to think, I don't know how she would react. So in my mind, I'm telling these people, get me up, move me around because my baby is coming home and I don't want her to see me like this. I discovered that nobody heard me because nothing actually ever came out of my mouth. That was just my mind working. Anyway, so make a long story short, I was taken to the hospital. I was taken to the hospital and my car was taken to the tow yard. Y'all, remember, all of the wedding items are in my vehicle. I am now in the hospital. I am in the hospital with a black eye, a fractured rib, the top of my foot, one of the bones, I don't know which bone it is, was broken, all right? And I've got burns from the airbags exploding in the car. This is a mess. I don't have my phone, my purse. I believe it was at the hospital with me, but once I was conscious enough to be and understand where I was at, all I could think about was the wedding the next day and that all of that stuff was in my vehicle. I had no phone, y'all. So there was no way that I could alert the DE team about what was going on. I'm like, okay, this cannot possibly be happening because I'm like, this family loves me. They trusted me. And now I am in a situation that I don't even know how to deal with it. Y'all, when I tell you by the grace of God, my ex-husband comes to the hospital. We get on Facebook, or he gets on Facebook, I should say. He was contacting people he knew to try to get a hold of my team to make sure that they knew what was going on and what they were going to need to do in order to pull this wedding off the next day. But not Desiree. Desiree wasn't going to allow that regardless of what I had in my contract. I was told I had a concussion, y'all, and that I needed to stay at the hospital. But Desiree, no, not listening to the doctors. Desiree said, "Self, I'm going to check myself up out of this hospital because I have a wedding tomorrow." Who the hell does that but me? Yep, I checked myself out of the hospital with a hospital gown on, some jeans, and those blue paper shoes because remember, I didn't have any shoes. I did not care about going home. I learned that my daughter was good, but I did not care about going home. I needed to go to the tow yard. And I had to get all of that stuff up out of that car because listen, y'all, there was a wedding that I needed to be present at this time in about 12 hours, okay? So this is at night now. The day is gone. We are at nighttime. We head over to the tow yard. They're looking at me and I'm looking at them and I'm saying, hey, I need to get to that gray car. That gray car has a lot of stuff in it and I need to get all of that stuff up out of there. Of course, I didn't have any proof that this was my car. I said, I have insurance, all of that. It's in the glove compartment. Could somebody just walk with me back there? We're going to have to walk slow though, but can somebody walk with me back there? I can show you everything you need so that you can at least allow me to get the items out of the car. The gentleman, he must have had pity on me. He was like, this woman is crazy. She done checked herself out the hospital. She needs all this crap up out of this car. Yeah, I did. He walks me back there. I wasn't allowed to take anybody with me. He walks me back there. Y'all, my car was demolished. It ultimately was totaled out. But all of the wedding stuff, because of the impact, had flown everywhere in this car. I did not care. My goal was to get everything that I possibly could up out of there, because the DE team, a couple of the members, were coming over to my home to get the items. So I had to get everything out of there. So I was like, sir, can you please let these people who have brought me here help me get this stuff out of the car? The tow yard, the gentleman there, he was very kind to do so. We ultimately were able to get everything out of the car. I head on home. I need to rest. I have been in an accident. I am hurting. My head is banging. My foot hurts. I'm a mess. And I literally went and I laid down on the couch, which is near my front door. My team came in. They went on ahead and got things out of my ex-husband's vehicle. They put them in their vehicle. I tried to let them know everything that happened, and here's the paperwork, all of that. But I said, listen, I'm going to show up tomorrow. Yeah, I'm coming to the wedding day. And they were like, well, Desiree, let us do what we do. This is why you have this clause in your contract about if you're in an accident. I was like, I get it. But it was something about this family that I just felt I needed to be there. Mind y'all, I'm hurting. I was like, no, I'm going to be there. And then they were like, well, how are you going to get there? You don't have a car. I said, don't worry about it. I got another coordinator who's going to bring me there. Sure enough, y'all, that morning, I woke up at the crack of dawn. Probably didn't sleep well. I woke up at the crack of dawn. I hobbled my tail out the door, got in my girl's car, and she drove me out to O'Hare. I get there. My first thought was, I can't let the bride see me like this because my foot's bandaged up, my eye is black. I do have some burns on me and some bruises and things like that. I didn't want her to see me like that, so I went to the groom. I go to his room to make sure that he is good, and he's looking at me and I'm looking at him, and he's like, what happened? And so I told him I was in an accident. I have not seen your beautiful bride, but I don't want her to know what happened. I said, so can you keep this just between us? He said, yeah. And he said, Desiree, if you aren't feeling good, go home. We know your team is stellar. You've trained these women. We're not worried. I was like, no, I'm going to stay as long as I can. Because for me, I wanted to make sure that ceremony went off. I wasn't really worried about the reception, but that ceremony was really, really important. I had worked hard with these people. I wanted to make sure this ceremony went off the way it was supposed to. So after I spoke with him, I head on to the bride's room. I'll never forget, my coordinator is there with me, and I made an effort to kind of stay out of the light and to stay out of her way. And I always positioned myself so she couldn't see the side of my face that was bruised and I had the black eye. She was not aware what had happened to me less than 24 hours ago. She was happy. She was beautiful. All was well. So we leave there and we head over to the church. Now remember, I have a concussion, so now it's kicking in. I'm starting to feel woozy. I'm feeling sick and faint. I don't even remember if I had ate. My two assistants that are at the church, they're like, Desiree, please go home. Please, you have to go home. I was like, no, we got to pin 500 boutonnieres. We got to distribute bouquets. I'm in my mind. I'm moving as if I have no issues. My team is trying to stop me. I'm fighting them. They fighting me. We're doing all of the things we need to do until finally I just conked out. It was nothing. I had nothing left in the tank. There was no more energy left. They called one of my friends to come get me, and I had to leave. I could not stay for the wedding. But I have to give thanks and a big, huge shout out to my team. They know who they are, who was a part of this wedding. I know that the reception, the ceremony went off the way it was supposed to. The reception had a few challenges because anytime you're dealing with large groups like we had to deal with for the wedding party, there are a lot of people who have opinions and they have things to say. And they wanted to know first and foremost, why wasn't Desiree there? Like, why wasn't she there? Well, because Desiree told the groom not to say anything, and he did just that. And I appreciate him so much. So the wedding party was kind of giving my team some drama or giving them some issues, but they were able to pull it off and work through all of that. And I was grateful for it. I have to say, the next morning, I received the most wonderful, thoughtful message from the couple. The bride had learned why I was not there ultimately, and she was so happy that I was well and that she felt the day went off fabulously, smoothly. The groom was happy. They were on their way to their tropical honeymoon, and they were smiling. You would think the story stopped there, right? I thought so. I mean, I got a great text message. They're on their honeymoon. Y'all listen. A month later, 1 month later, I got an email from the mom. The mom was disappointed in our performance. By that time, they had the photographs from the wedding and they were able to dissect certain things. Remember, y'all, a lot of the wedding items were in my car. Well, we weren't able to find some of the things, or some items had gotten broken because of the way they were packaged inside of the vehicle. And I won't go into the particulars, but we couldn't put out certain things. And the bride's mom, after dissecting the images from the wedding, discovered some things, all right? I had to own up to it and says, hey, I was in an accident. The couple said everything was wonderful. Not sure why you are coming back to me a month later, disappointed and blah, blah, blah. But please let me know what it was that was missing, and I will take ownership of that and refund you for those particular items. But I'm gonna need those receipts, all right? But hey, I was just happy to be alive. I mean, literally, I just had a traumatic incident happen right before a wedding. Yeah, crazy, right? Right before a wedding. Anyways, that's it for this wedding tea, and I will see you very soon. I have to say to you all, I'm taking a summer break. I'm taking a little time off to enjoy myself this summer, but I will be back very soon with some more wedding tea. Until next time, bye-bye.